Being mindful is the practice of maintaining a non-judgmental state of heightened or complete awareness of one's thoughts, emotions, or experiences on a moment-to-moment basis, which can be extremely important while trying to understand and learn more about mental health. So let me welcome you to Mindful Thoughts. My name is Deloris, and I feel like my mission in life is to help break down those barriers around mental wellness by sharing personal stories, tips, and confessions of mental health to help us shine a light on mental wellness. So what are we waiting for? Let's dive in. Today I want to ask you an important question. Do you have control over your environment? And did you know that your environment is important for your mental health? For a lot of us, when we think about mental health, this is one thing we skip over. We skip over our environment. And for some of you, you might be asking yourself, well, what do you mean when you say your environment? Your environment is what you surround yourself from morning to night, Monday through Friday, or Monday through Sunday, every single day of your life. It's the places you go, it's the people you interact with, it's your family members, it's your friends, it's everything that surround you. The first thing I thought of when I thought about this was like a flower. When you plant a flower, you do everything you can to give it the right amount of sunlight, to water it, to change the soil so it has what it needs to grow into this beautiful flower. So think of yourself as that flower. If you surround yourself by the right people and you work in the right environment and you have the support and love that you need, you're going to grow into this beautiful flower. But if you work in a place that is not good for you, and you have friends that aren't there for you and they tear you down, and you are in this really negative environment, slowly and slowly and slowly it's going to drain you, and that beautiful flower you once were is going to turn into this flower that is drooping and its colors are graying, and over time it's sucking that energy from that flower and it's sucking that energy from you. So one of the questions you might be asking yourself is, what is it about your environment that has shaped you into the person that you have become? And is it the people you are surrounding yourself by? Is it the people you work with? Is it the place you work? Is it the friends you have? Is it the places you go? Is it the hobbies, or is it the habits you've picked up that is something that is contributing to how you feel every day? Because everything around you in your environment has played a role into who you are today. In this world, every single day, you are in control of your life and the people that you allow in it. And sometimes when you take a hard look at your environment and there's things that you need to change, that can be hard. But sometimes it's worth it, because over time, once you make those changes, your life and your mental health will get better, and it will be easier to cope with, and it'll be something that is easier to manage than it was before. So right now I want you to stop and look at your environment. Look at the people that are in your environment, including your relationship you may be in with a partner, your friends, and your family. Are these people that are in your life and you surround yourself with supporting you like they should be, loving on you, caring for you, doing whatever they need to do to help you live a healthy and happy life? Or are these people in your life secretly tearing you down because they are scared of what you could become or the person that you might be if you live at your full potential? See, a lot of people who you might be friends with or family members, when you come up with ideas or you come up with things that you want to do, when they're scared of you changing or they're scared of who you're going to become once you do, they will do everything in their power to tear you down. They will do everything in your power to keep you at where you're at. And for a lot of us, that affects our mental health greatly, because that makes us sad and makes us anxious. And now we're scared to become that person because we don't know how that's going to affect the people around us. And one of the biggest things is, if that affects the people around you, then those people aren't meant to be in your life. Those people aren't the ones that are meant to be there to support you. I think of this of when I was in a 6-year relationship with somebody who was emotionally abusive to me. He made me feel like I was always reaching for something more. I was never good looking enough. I was never skinny enough. I was never smart enough. There was always something that I had to work on. There was always something I needed to strive for. And it was only the moment that I realized that I didn't have to put up with this anymore. Like, I could change how I felt and the way I was feeling if I just took myself out of that environment. And when I did, when I left that relationship, and when I decided that I was just going to do what I needed to do was best for me, it infected me 100%. It was something that I needed to do. Now, of course, when I got into a new relationship, it wasn't easy. There was a lot of stuff that I dealt with. But over the time, when I finally let myself live in the environment that I needed to live in, over time that affected how I dealt with my mental health. It helped me realize how I was dealing with my depression and the things that I needed to do and the things I was not going to deal with, or I wasn't going to let people treat me. Because when you're in an environment in a relationship with somebody that's not good for you, or in friendships that aren't beneficial for you, then over time that's going to affect your mental health, because you're going to feel like you need to be at this place to maybe people please these people that are around you. It's only when you realize that you don't need that when you step back and say, like, don't need you to be negative. I don't need you to tell me that I can't do things. Like, once you remove yourself from those situations, your environment becomes somewhere you want to be. And then when you find people that you want to be surrounded by, I'm telling you, to have people that support you and care for you is going to be so great than sitting in an environment surrounded by people who don't want you to go any further than you're going. I recently, within the last few months, joined a community of women who we have these power hours where we sit and we talk, and they care for you and they love on you and they want to see you succeed. That for my mental health was so impactful. Like, the anxiety of feeling I wasn't good enough, or the anxiety of feeling like what I wanted to do wasn't manageable, seemed manageable, because I had these people who were encouraging me to reach out and do those things and weren't holding me back. So sometimes in your environment, you just need those people around you to support and love on you and encourage you to keep going and keep striving for what you need to do. And overall, that's going to be such an impact on your mental health, because you're not going to feel like you need to be less than what you really should be. Another place to look at is the place that you work. Are you able to succeed at the things you want to succeed in, or are you being held back from reaching your full potential because you're not in the right environment? Or is it the people that you work with every day? Are those people positive and uplifting people, or are they people that are toxic and start tearing you down and who are so full of negativity that you become a negative person as well? Another thing I relate with too, that you might relate with, is when you're not in the right workplace. The last job I had, I got to the point where I was just like, I'm comfortable. Like, I know what I'm doing every day. I know my job is really easy. Like, it just became something that I could just do. Did I enjoy working there? No. But I just became comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. The place was very toxic. The people you worked with was toxic. Some people in management were toxic. There was so much drama and so many rumors, and you just had to deal with like people fighting all the time, and it was like negativity upon negativity upon negativity that over time I didn't realize that negativity was affecting me. Like, it was affecting my depression, and I was having anxiety with having to talk to people and be around people, and I was crying every day. And it was only then that I realized that this was not healthy for me or my mental health. Like, I should not be upset every day. I should not have anxiety every day. I should not want to go to work every day. Like, this is not the environment I need to be in. So when I realized that was not something that was working for me, and I decided to quit, it was like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. For the first time, I was able to really focus on me. I was able to focus on my mental health, the things I needed to do for myself. It was just so much better. So for a lot of us, we get too comfortable in uncomfortable situations that we think this is just how life is. This is just how a workplace is. This is just what it's like in the world, but it's not. You need to find what works for you. And sometimes when one job doesn't work and that environment is not healthy, you need to find one that is healthier. It might take a while to find that one environment that is good for you, but you need to do it. It is scary to quit your job and start a new one, but that could be the one thing that is going to help your mental health more than just staying where you're at and being miserable and feeling like you're just being torn apart emotionally and physically every day. Because these are all the things we need to think about in our environment. The people we surround ourselves by, the people who support us, the workplace we work in. This is everything we surround ourselves with every single day, and this is what makes us who we are. And sometimes without even realizing it, the biggest thing that we're suffering from in our mental health is the environment we're in. When you're in a bad environment, it affects your mental health greatly. Most of us are on these journeys to make our mental health our biggest priorities and to make it better. And then that means we have to look at our environment around us, the people we surround ourselves with, the places we go, and the places we work, because all of this is an important factor on our day-to-day life and the environments we put ourselves in. We need to realize that if we're stuck in a negative environment, our mental health is going to be just plummeting because we don't have the right tools and we're not in the right environment to grow in that right direction we need to grow in. We will continuously struggle with our mental health. We will look at everything from family history to diet to lifestyle to genetics. But the one thing we're missing and the one thing we're not looking at is our environment that surrounds us in our day-to-day life. That's the biggest area and the biggest factor of all. So no matter what, no matter all the other different things you look at, if you're not looking at your environment, you're missing out on the most important thing. The one thing you put yourself and you do every single day. Like I said, you are the one that gets to decide how you live your life every day. But you are also the one that decides where you work and who you surround yourself with. That is all up to you. So it might be hard for some of us at first, but we need to deep dive into our environment and say, is this something that is working for us and that is healthy for our mental health, or is this something that is not working for us and that is bad for our mental health? Because if it is, then we need to start looking at those pieces and figuring out what needs to change in order for us to be able to focus on us and control our mental health and really focus on our mental health and see what is beneficial to us and what's not. So what you have to decide in your environment is what is working for you and what's not working for you. So maybe it's that friendship, or maybe it's that job that you finally realize that it's not working and it's making your mental health worse instead of better. So what do, right? Well, the options are you end that friendship or you quit that job. And of course, a lot of people are going to say, well, that's scary. Like, I just am not going to see this person anymore, or I'm just going to quit this job. And of course, it's scary, but it's something that is going to be worth it if it's going to help you and your mental health. So the question is, do you want to sit in these uncomfortable situations or stay at this uncomfortable job that is tearing you down instead of leaving because that's what you know? Like I said, I think a lot of us get comfortable in uncomfortable situations because it's become just a normal part of our life. Like these friends who tear us down or do things that we would question for ourselves that like we wouldn't do. They are just people that have been in your life for so long that like you just allow it to happen. Now, ending friendships aren't easy depending on how long you've been friends with those people, but it could be something that you need to do. It could be something that is more beneficial to you than you realize. You need people in your life that are supporting you and loving on you and caring for you and lifting you up, and they're supporting you every single day and you're supporting them, and you're able to feel like there is a contribute from each side to keep going and to, keep building this relationship. And for some people, they don't, like I said, they don't want to see you grow and they don't want to see you reach your full potential. So they will do everything in their might to keep you where you are. And if you feel that way, that's just not a relationship or a friendship you should be in. Like, you could slowly stop hanging out with them so much, or communicating with them, or inviting them out to things, or maybe you just flat out tell them, like, this is what I need, and if you can't help me with this, then I think we should just go our separate ways. Because some people you're meant to be friends with for years and years and years, and other people you're just allowing yourself to eventually fall off, and you just kind of never reconnect with them. And for some people, this could be family members, which could be even harder to make that decision, because there are family members in your life that will tear you down and be so unhealthy for you. And if you make that decision to no longer talk to that person that is in your family, or no longer communicate with them, of course that's going to be hard, but that's a decision you have to make, because you have to do what's going to be best for you and your mental health. And if that's cutting somebody out, that's cutting somebody out. That's just like a job. If your job is not one where you feel like you're living at your full potential, and it's not somewhere that is good for you mentally, then it's time to find another job. Of course, when you work somewhere for a long time, it can be scary to make that change, but making that change is going to be better for you than staying where you're at and being miserable. It's one of the biggest things we need to focus on. Because like I said, we will look at all these different factors for our mental health and not look at the environment around us. Your environment is important. Your environment is the one thing you control every single day. So if you have control over it, then you should be able to make those choices, even if they're hard to make, and make them for yourself and for your mental health. Because once you remove yourself from that toxic environment, or from that environment that is not suited for you, you will enter another environment that will open you up to so many more possibilities, or open you up to really focusing on your mental health that you've never been able to do before. I told you today, there are 2 situations in 2 different environments that I knew weren't suitable for me. And I stayed in those environments for way too long. And over that time, it affected me and my mental health so much that I dealt with repercussions every single day, and even for a long time after that. Because in those moments, we don't realize that maybe that person, or the place we work, or the environment we're surrounded by is what's infecting us. And then once we leave it and we're able to reflect back on it, we're like, wow, that was really something that was affecting me, and I should have realized it sooner than later. But it's because we're not looking at it. It's because we're looking at all these other things going on, that we're just not looking at the environment we put ourselves in every day. Because like I said, we're in charge of it. You control the decisions you make, you control the places you go, and you control the people you talk to and surround yourself with every day. So it is up to you to zone in on what's working for you in your environment and what's not, and then finding ways to change what you need to change in that environment. Again, it's not going to be easy. Some of them might be easy, like for you, just quitting your job and finding a new one is easy for you, then do it. Like I said, for other ones like friendships or family members or people that you're close with, it might not be easy to do, but it might be something you need to do for you and your mental health. You just have to choose to do it. And like I said, it could be scary, but the outcome is going to be so much better. And it's going to give you that moment of clarity to say, I can do this, and I can work on myself, and I can focus on myself, and I can be able not to feel the way I'm feeling. And that is a beautiful thing. So I want you to look at your environment. I want you to look at your surroundings and say, is your environment one that is good or is bad? Because you're going to be either 3 people. After listening to this, you're going to be like looking at your environment and say, no, yeah, I'm in a good spot with work. I have really good friends. Yep, I'm doing great. My environment's good. Good. And then you could be in the other one where it's like in the middle, where you're like, yeah, my environment's good in this aspect, but here's a couple aspects that aren't good. So those are the ones you need to focus on, and you need to figure out to fix and work on so you can better that. Or you're the last person who looks at your environment and goes, dang,
Like, I need to change, like, maybe my place I work or the people I talk to, and I need to work on a lot because my environment is not good, then that's your focus. Maybe if you don't want to change your job, maybe you can talk to somebody and say, look, this is how I'm feeling and this is where I'm leaning to. What can we do? You can also do that with family members and friends. Hey, look, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm getting from you, and this is what's not working. So we can either work on this, or we're no longer going to be working with each other, or we're no longer going to be friends, and you just lay it all out. Because once you know what you need, you will do everything in your power to do it. And once you know what's working in your environment and what's not, you will work on those things that need to be changed for the better, and you will keep working at it because you know what you deserve, and you're not going to get anything less than that. I'm telling you, when I looked at my environment and changed the things I needed to change, it was so much better for me than just sitting in an environment that I became comfortable in over time, which really wasn't working for me. Sometimes comfortable isn't good. We just get there and we get stuck there and we don't know what to do. And I'm telling you today that if your environment is not working for you, you need to change it, and you need to do something for you, and your environment is going to affect your mental health. And for a lot of us, we don't see that, but it does. And the more we work on it, the more we're able to really hone in on what we need to do for us and what's going to keep us healthy and going, and what we really need to do for us mentally. So like always, I want you guys to remember that you are never alone and that I love you.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode. And you know what would be so amazing? If you shared, left a comment, and liked this episode. Any type of support and love for this podcast is going to help it grow more and more every day. I'm so grateful to have you here, and I'll talk to you again soon.